Hi, my name is Rachel, and this is my story for His glory. Over the last couple of years, I've really been struggling with a sense of being wanted and needed, and I think it's a thread that's been throughout my whole life, but through different relationships and situations over the last couple of years, I feel like God has really been putting His finger on it and highlighting that area of my life because He wanted to redeem something that I was unaware of. I've been covered in so many things from the enemy. I've been covered in shame and guilt and condemnation and rejection, and I feel like it has come from God asking me to do something and me in my stubbornness not doing it. I was serving in so many areas in the church, and I felt like God was saying that He wanted me to take a step back for a season and just rely on Him and allow Him to wash over me with who He is and to just set some things straight in my life. And I didn't want to because I felt like it was me failing to do that and cut back on different areas, and I let go of different things. But every time I would do it, I felt like I was so small and that there was just an intimidation that covered me, and I felt like I was failing, like nobody wanted me. And it started with my relationships here on earth, but then it slowly started feeling like it was God saying that He didn't want me or that He didn't need me because He was asking me to give these things up. And it just felt like everything was slipping through my fingers, and it got harder and harder to let go of things. But I got to a point where I knew I just had to trust Him and begin to let go of these things. It was hard, as I just felt like I couldn't get out from under these feelings that the enemy had put on me, and feeling like I was locked in a cage and that I didn't have a role or a function within the church, or that I was never going to be anything in the kingdom because of what the enemy was telling me and what he was doing in my life. And in the last few months, I finally took the step of releasing the last bit of everything I'd been holding on to so tightly. And at the Transformed weekend, as I was worshiping in the Me Too meeting, I just had the thought that this is the final event that I'm involved in serving within the church for this season. And as soon as I had that thought, I felt like God said to me, "See, I don't need you to be involved in anything for me to want you." And in that moment, I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's a cool thought. But I just kind of kept on worshiping. And then as Teresa shared her word with us, she shared from Isaiah 62 that just talks about how God wants to give us a new name and how He wants to change some of those names that we have from the world with things that God thinks of us. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find my new name. And as I sat there just waiting on God for this name and going through the list of things that I felt like I could choose as my new name, beloved, loved, all these different things that He's spoken to me in the past, it just wasn't sitting right. Like there was something that I felt like there was something more that He wanted to speak to me, something new that He wanted to give me. And in that moment, all of a sudden, it clicked that what He had said to me earlier in worship, that I don't have to be involved in anything for Him to want me. I realized that the new name He had given me was wanted. And for the first time in a really long time, without having to do anything, I felt like I was wanted, and because of who I am, and not because of what I can do or how I can serve or just the different things that come with that. And in that moment, all of those feelings that the enemy had put me in washed away. I felt all of the rejection and the guilt and the shame and the condemnation just completely wash away, and I felt like a new person. I felt like there was light around me for the first time in a long time, that there was a freedom that came that I hadn't experienced in so long. Over the last couple of years, I've had such turmoil on the inside of me, and I had gotten to the place where I thought that turmoil would never leave me anymore. I just had to accept it and move forward with it. And in that moment, that turmoil disappeared, and it hasn't been back since. And I can't help but be excited and amazed at how God can do these things. And, sometimes we have to go through these long, tough seasons to get to that place. But looking back, I realized that my own stubbornness is what kept me in that season for longer than I needed to be. And then on Sunday morning, I was worshiping again and just pouring out my heart and worshiping with a new lightness and a freedom over me that I haven't felt in a long time. And I felt like God just said to me, I wanted you from the beginning, meaning like the beginning of me, the beginning of time. And I just broke down and I just started weeping because his love and his acceptance and the belonging that I felt in him was just confirmed again in that moment. And I felt like through this weekend, I came out a completely new person. I felt truly transformed.